Hi everyone. Right now what I'd like to talk about is rehearsals. Um, it's an old saying in film that when we're filming something, film costs money, actors' time costs money, a crew costs money, and it doesn't matter if you're shooting digital or film. Usually it's more expensive with film, but the rehearsal process doesn't have to cost as much. Right now it's a time to explore. It's time to get to know each other, and it's a time to answer questions that you don't have to on set when time is very valuable. So the first thing I want to get into is what we're going to be talking about. The first thing is table read, one-on-one meetings, first run through, scene-by-scene rehearsals, and shot-by-shot rehearsals. That's if you need them. Now the reason I'm doing this is because a lot of people tend to rehearse, but they don't understand why, and they don't have a plan to rehearse. So you kind of need a plan for the plan, and you have to know some answers or ask the right questions to the actors to get a desired response or outcome. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the table read. The table read is nothing more than the first read with the cast and crew. And normally we just go through it monotone. If the actors want to put more into it, that's fine with me. Anytime they want to, I'm cool with that. This is where we meet the actors, and the actors can meet some of the crew. Now, after the table read, you can let the crew go, and they can do what they want. They can have their meetings that have to do with logistics, budget, things like that, with UPMs, ADs, producers, line producers, and whatnot. And then we end up staying, the actors and the directors stay back, sometimes with the second AD too, and we field questions with the actors. It's a great experience. It's a great time, like I said, to refine and reflect. This is the first time we're seeing it, the first time we're hearing it. Now, as a director, you've been pre-visualizing this for a long time. So now it's up to you to convey that message to the rest of the cast and crew. Whenever I go into a meeting, cast, crew, actors, I don't talk so much at first. I want to know what they're feeling already. What is their point? They wouldn't be doing this if they didn't want to bring what they know to the craft, and that's what you're paying them for. That's why we do it. That's why they love it so much. So I don't want to interrupt everybody, depending on how much time we have to rehearse. I've had commercials that I've rehearsed for, and I didn't have time to rehearse so much. So that's why we end up doing it on set. So you can take some of these things that I'm showing you right now, and you could turn it into 1 hour before a shoot if you didn't have time to rehearse. So the next thing I want to talk about is one-on-one meetings. And this is basically, it's for you to ask the actor how they want to be directed. This is where we find out their language. Actors tend to have different styles. You've got method, classical, improvisation. We warn you against improvisation. Improvisation is great in rehearsals. It costs a lot of money on set to do it unless you're Jim Carrey and you have the budget to do it. Always remember, budget for it if you're going to do it. So this is the time to get to know how each actor is taking on the part and how they're going to use it. Are they going to use personal experiences? Are they just playing pretend? And that's how easy it can be. The next thing we're going to talk about is the first run-through. This is a theater-style rehearsal from the beginning of the end of the script in chronological order. The reason we do this is because rarely do you ever shoot a film that starts from the beginning and goes to the end. Normally we're shooting the end first, we're shooting in the middle or at the beginning. And this is a good time so everybody can adhere to their through lines, which we've talked about already. That is the common thread through each scene that ties the whole film together. Think of it as rehearsing a master shot for every scene. We don't break, we just keep going. And it lets the actors adhere to the through lines. It's like theater because, again, we just talked about it. There's no take two. You have to go through it the whole way out. I started out in theater. I loved prepping for theater because there's no camera on you, and you don't get to stand up in the middle of a production and say, hey, can I do that over again? So that's why I like working with theater actors that have made the transition into film, because normally they tend to work real hard, remembering lines, or even if you have to change some lines, during shooting or rehearsal, we can do that also. I do scene by scene rehearsals. This is where we started adhering to the 3-act paradigm. Okay, so we have a scene, and a scene that breaks up into sequences, and a sequence makes one of the paradigms with the 3 acts. You only need to really rehearse scenes that need attention. If somebody's standing on a sidewalk with a phone in their hand, and we're shooting a long shot of it, you don't really need to rehearse that. We rehearse the meat of the scenes. There's sometimes, just for insurance purposes and to make sure everybody's safe, we'll rehearse action or high emotion scenes. Emotional scenes, watch out. You don't want to overdo an emotional scene, because usually the actor is using this. They're keeping it locked away. So when it presents itself when the camera's rolling, then that means they're not healing themselves by constantly doing it over and over again. So keep that in mind. Shot by shot, this is if you need it. A shot by shot rehearsal is if you really got something wrong with a shot and you want to make sure there's a lot of blocking in it, or there's a lot of dialogue in it. You want to make sure that you end up putting importance. I mean, every shot's important. It wouldn't be in the film, but the importance on the things that need attention. And that's what shot by shot. And usually that has something to do with the technical aspects. Usually you bring the DP in for that too. A rehearsal plan. This is something that you can go into and have this already written down, and a lot of this you've already seen. So if you just make a list and adhere to all these things on this plan, you'll be great for your first day of rehearsal. Again, it's just a guide. It's a plan, information that you can direct all the actors. First thing, through lines. What is this scene about? What does it mean to the actor? Whose scene is it? What are the entrances like? What is the exit like? Can we cut? Is there continuity style editing? This is where you bring your storyboards, your shot breakdown sheets, so you can see if it's going to work. The actors don't necessarily have to see it, but this is where you can tell if your choices are going to work. The spines of the characters. This is one of the number one things. No matter what, this is what you should bring in. Who's the character? What do they want? What's the obstacle in front of them? And what action do they take to get that one? That's where we create conflict. That's why people watch movies. That's why our senses get heightened when we watch something. If there was no spines, it would just be a flat roller coaster that has no loops or banking left or banking right, or anything that heightens our emotions. So keep that in mind. Transitions, number one. This is right up there with through lines. This is the point where the emotion changes in a scene, and what you'll see is a lot of actors try to force this. They try to force emotional changes, when in reality, if they would just take a beat and maybe react a little bit to what's really being said, that's how you can tell if an actor's not listening. Listening is just as important as dialogue, as who's speaking at the time. And L cuts come in there. Now you're seeing it all come together, because that's where we get to see the L cut. We get to see the reaction because of that cut. Backstory. Always bring the pre-life of the character and the imaginative and factual. Usually imaginative and factual is something fun to do with some kind of improvisation. The pre-life of the character, the factual backstory, is what's in the script already. So have fun with that. Research. Oh, any research you can bring in, bring it. I love when an actor comes in to a rehearsal and they've done just as much research on the character as I have. That really makes me feel. It makes me feel like I have a good foundation, and we're anchored into the same movie. We're making the same movie. Overhead view of the set, only for certain blocking scenes. If there's a lot of movement, if there's just two people sitting at a table talking, I'm not going to use an overhead view, but I'll use it to show actors, okay, I need you to go from here to here. What you do in between there is up to you and what the character does, but for my camera positions, I need you to be here and here. So they understand. They got to be coherent of the technical side of filmmaking, at least for a little bit, and then they'll go off into their, um, coming up with their own backstory or what they're feeling at the time. Actors don't like to be told what to feel at a time. Just tell them where to go, and they'll do the rest. Okay. Update the script. Always remember that script must be updated all the time, so we're all working on the same film. Okay. Personal meaning. I bring this always. I wear it on my sleeve no matter what I'm doing. Every project I'm doing it for a reason, and I like to inspire people, and I like to be inspired. So when we're all making the same film, and we might have different personal meanings why we're shooting the film, but at the same time, we're shooting the same one. So, if somebody's making this because it reminds them of their dad, if it makes them because they've been through it, I want to hear about it. If they don't want to, that's fine. Some actors don't like to show their hand. So this usually works really good, but I always have that personal meaning of why we do what we do. Why are we so lucky to be in this world of making new worlds and emotions and it's just a wonderful thing. And I always like to remember, it's not all about the dollars and cents. It's about personal meaning and how you're going to leave a mark on this world. I bring props. Prop is something the actor holds. Business is what they do with it. The action, what they do with it, is called the actor's business. Try to get props in the rehearsal as fast as you can, because it's hard to work with a prop if you have never used it. In the first day of shooting, they're trying to use it, and it just doesn't work out. This is the last most important thing: be on time. It's the actor's job to be late, and they will always be late. 1 minute to 2 minutes to a half hour. It's just actor time is what I call it. Even when I'm acting in projects, I can feel it. If my body wants to be late, but I won't let it because I'm a director also, and I'm not going to do that. Well, I hope you had fun listening to this, and I hope it helped you a lot. If you ever have any questions, you know how to get a hold of me. All right. Well, thanks for listening, and I never say good luck because I don't think you need it, but break a leg.